Hello and welcome to today's video. I was hoping today that we could just hang out and play with some makeup together. About 2 weeks ago, I posted 2 videos with an eyeshadow look that was inspired, or it was actually like orchestrated by you guys. I had asked in a video for ideas about how to use this eyeshadow here. This is ColourPop Special Delivery, and it's kind of like this mint green shadow. And it's really beautiful, but I was having trouble trying to figure out how to wear that shade, and a lot of you in the comments gave me such great suggestions, and I ended up putting a look together for a video, and people really y'all were just so sweet, and you know how to fluff a girl's ego, because I felt so good about myself that video. I had so many comments in both videos about how much y'all love the eyeshadow look, and so a couple people asked or said that they would be interested in seeing it like done. So it's been a while since I've kind of hung out and put on makeup on camera with everybody, so I figured at the very least it might be interesting. Hopefully we can just hang out. I want to know in the comments right now how everybody's doing. What's the update? Like, are you back to work? Are you still kind of in lockdown? What's going on? And let's go ahead and jump into the eyeshadow look. Okay, I'm zoomed in a little bit, and I just want to say these are the products I'm going to be using today. But by no means are these like the end-all be-all of the things that you need to do to have to recreate a look like this. I honestly think that you could recreate something really similar with similar shades that you probably have in your collection if you're someone like me who really likes makeup and you have a bigger collection anyways. I'm sure there are shades that you have that kind of lean certain ways, or highlighters. If you like colorful highlighters, I think that even some colorful highlighters might work out to kind of generate a feel of the same look. So I'm going to start off with my natural matte palette. I know someone in the comments asked about what kind of like cool tone eyeshadows are my go-to. Right now, because I have about half of my eyeshadow palette collection at home, this is like my go-to palette when I want something cool tone, and I use this and this here. It's Cashmere Bunny and Nudie mixed together, and I fluff that into my crease pretty heavily, and then on the outside I mix Cashmere Bunny and Risque, which is this darker one here, for the outside corner, and I just kind of do the framing of my eye with those kind of cool but kind of also neutral brown shades. Okay, so since I've told you about that, I'm gonna try to do this and talk at the same time, which is maybe a disaster, but here we go. I figure I will give an update about what's going on in Sweden. So I don't know if anyone has been keeping up with Sweden. If you live in Sweden, you probably know what's going on in Sweden, but I know sometimes Sweden gets included on news sources because their response to COVID-19 has been somewhat controversial when you compare it to like other countries. So Sweden never actually did a full lockdown, which was kind of shocking. When it all started happening, I kind of looked at the neighboring countries and thought, okay, we'll mimic what they're gonna do, or what they do at some point, we'll mimic that. And we never really have. For the most part, they've kept schools open and they kept businesses open. They had tried to put in some measures to keep the number of people in like crowded areas down, and they have limited like the number of people allowed to gather at one point, but it's not anything like certain other countries. Also, I don't know if it will show it on camera, but you may notice that my eyes look kind of like, dry. This is the aftermath of whatever was going on with my skin last week. It's still recovering somewhat, but I feel comfortable putting eyeshadow on now. But my eyelids were just peeling. That and like the outside corner out here of my eyes were just peeling, and I have a feeling it was allergies. But let me tell you, it's been a pain in the butt trying to get my eyelids back to like normal, somewhat normal. But back to what I was saying. Yeah, Sweden has never really gone on full lockdown, so it's kind of been really awkward to like go about your daily life, and like my husband's still going into work regularly. I turned down a lot of work. For those of you who don't remember, I am a substitute teacher here in Sweden, and I have turned down a lot of work, but I've also gone in a couple of days when I felt like, okay, they really need somebody and they must be struggling enough if they're calling me. Because I kind of admittedly, for myself, for my own sanity, because at one point like more than half the staff was out, but yet almost all, or like a good portion, more than half of the students were there. And so it was a lot. Like I hit a burnout stage really quickly trying to keep up with that kind of like the students were just not having it, and substitute teachers were kind of getting the brunt of it for a little while. So I ended up, after realizing like, oh, this is not fun, I ended up turning down work a lot, and that was hard for someone like me because I am someone who I feel like if someone asks, I'm not good at saying no, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Yeah, if you ask me to do something, I'm probably gonna say yes, even if I don't want to. But I learned to say no a little bit over this past month or so. And I am actually proud of myself for learning that lesson, because I feel like that's not something that I'm classically good at. Okay, switching back to eyeshadow. I think I have this as deep as I want it. If I want to deepen it up, I'll go do that later. But what I'm going to do now is take this on my finger. I'll always apply these Super Shock shadows with my finger. And I'm going to pretty much put this all over my lid, even to the middle. And then I'll take my steel glitter and put it just on the inner half. But I want to put this all over my eyes. So this is what we're going to do now. Back to updates with Sweden and stuff. So I guess, like, long story short is I am not going to be working much now moving forward, because school is kind of out. This coming week is like the last week, and I think it's like mostly like choice days is what they call them here, and I think it's mostly like arranged events where you're celebrating with your class having completed a year. So this week and next week are the last weeks of school, and everybody's kind of, it happened last year the same way. During the last like week of school, nobody was absent because everybody's got so much stuff to do and so much to tidy up and so many loose ends to tie up that it's school's over for me right now. So I am personally kind of in that mindset of trying to get my brain to go, okay, no one's gonna call you and ask you to come in. How do you want to structure your days to actually start to feel productive? Because it's easy when I had something to look forward to job-wise, like I can go, I know I'm doing something with my time, I know I'm gonna make some money, but during the summer, I know that I am going to have to do something else with my time. There's no chance I'm gonna get called into work, so I have to do something. If I don't wanna, I wanna enjoy some time off, but also I'm someone who needs to feel productive in order to feel good. At some point, I'm gonna need something, so I'm starting to think about things like that. And I have plenty that I need to do, it's just a matter of making myself a schedule and getting that done. So that's kind of my boring life update. I'm still in touch with a lot of my family and stuff, obviously back at home, and I miss them so bad, and I'm so curious about when all of this is going to be cleared up enough to travel, because I'm dying to see my family. I miss them, and I know that they've had a definitely harder time than I have here in Sweden. A lot of it is that I'm not in the age range or I don't have health issues that put me at risk, but they do, and so it's very scary for them. Okay, I'm sorry if this video is kind of just back and forth and kind of all over the place. I'm going to switch over to makeup again. This is my Stila Glitter and Glow in the shade Gypsy. This is what I put on my inner corner, and then I kind of tap it towards the middle, but I keep those kind of colors separated somewhat, so that's what we're going to do next. So yes, like I was saying, I'm definitely curious to hear how everybody else is doing. I know I have a lot of friends on here from all over the world, and it's so interesting to hear everybody's different experience and hear how everybody's doing. So please don't be shy in the comments and let me know how you're doing. And that goes without saying that I hope everybody is doing well, but I definitely want to hear from everybody in the comments if you don't mind. Okay, so this is kind of the gist of how I did things the last time. Because I am absolutely horrible at the next step, I'm gonna go ahead and do this off camera, so I'm gonna pause and cut and come back with a finished eyeliner and finished lashes, because there's no way I can talk through that. It would be an absolute train wreck if you tried to watch me do that and talk. Okay, I am back, and I think I successfully applied these lashes. These are some Ardell lashes from like a lash book. And they're not, this is not the faux wispies or the faux mink ones. The faux mink ones that Ardell makes are way better than those, but those were like ridiculously on sale one year at Christmas, and I'm trying to use them up. So I'm using what I have, but I did go with some ones that are flared on the outside just because I think it opens up like the lid to show off the beautiful colors that y'all came up with. So here I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna do a little bit of like reverse foundation. I might speed through a couple of these parts because honestly, after my update in Sweden, which is there's a lot not going on here, I'm a little bit worried that I might be a little boring. So I'm gonna put on a little bit of makeup here. So let's go ahead and put the rest of my face together. Right now I'm kind of using this HD concealer from NYX in the shade like cappuccino or something. No, nutmeg. and it's super dark, but I'm trying to decide if it's something that I think I can pan. I definitely don't use it every day, so it's a little bit unnerving to me, especially when I put it on and I start to blend it out. And it's always one of those things that when I try to do the reverse foundation with this technique, or with this particular product actually too, I always feel like, oh my gosh, you look super crazy until the end, and then it looks somewhat okay. So I'm trying to make my mind up if this is something that I want to try to pan, or if I'm just going to declutter. But feel free in the comments to let me know your opinion on how this turns out. Yeah, it doesn't look too scary today. It might be the lighting that's helping me out, because for whatever reason, in between the time that I stopped the video and put my lashes on, the sun went it just disappeared, like it's about to start storming. It looked so nice earlier today, and then now all of a sudden it's just so gray. I also forgot to mention that I had primed my face too. I did a mixture of like this Hocus Pocus primer from Soap and Glory, and then a Touch and Soul or Touch and Glow Radiance Cream. This is like a lotion with the slightest bit of shimmer in it, and then this is more like a glowy, like shiny kind of primer. So I didn't want that intense of a glow, so I kind of thinned it out with the other lotion. While I put on some foundation, I'm also curious in the comments, sorry, y'all are going to be commenting for days if you actually listen to me. I'm curious to hear what everybody's doing with their time. I know this past week has, like I said, I've been home a lot more because I've been turning down work, and work is just wrapping up. I have been playing, I've been playing a lot of Animal Crossing, like a lot. And I really am enjoying it. I actually never had played any of the other Animal Crossing games from like the past. I mean, they've made games in the past and I've never played, but my husband's the one who convinced me. He's been trying to turn me into a gamer for the longest time, and he's like, I think this is gonna be your game, because I don't like fighting games. Like they give me so much anxiety. About the most fighting I can stand is like Pokemon, and Pokemon is not really a fighting game. And so I played that earlier this year, and then he convinced me to try Animal Crossing. And if you haven't tried it and you have a Switch, I really think it's a lot of fun. If you're someone who just likes to complete tasks and like work towards goals, it kind of gives me Sims vibes, but like in a very much more cute profile kind of way. And then also, when I'm not playing Animal Crossing, I've been rewatching, like Bo and I have an HBO subscription, like, because HBO Nordic here in Sweden is actually pretty affordable, and we've been rewatching Dexter, or I've been rewatching Dexter without, but we watched Dexter like when it came out. It was like early 2000s, sometime early to mid 2000s, and we loved it back then, but it's been so long since we've watched any of it. And so I saw on there that they were going to take it off of HBO at the end of this month, so I've been rewatching it, and oh my goodness, I forgot how much I enjoyed that show. I don't know, some of it ages poorly, and it seems like you definitely remember certain seasons were not all they were cracked up to be, but certain seasons you're like, man, you're just as good as I remember you to be. So let me know in the comments if you're watching any show, or are you rediscovering anything, or have you discovered something new during this time? I'm really curious, because I'm almost done with Dexter, and I'm gonna need something new, so who knows what I might end up in next. Also, I'm curious, since we're approaching summer so quick now, I'm curious to hear what everybody is planning to do, since I know at least here in Europe there are talks about like opening certain borders up and especially like trying to get tourism up and running in certain countries like Greece and things like that. I'm curious, are any of you like brave enough to travel this summer? I know there are a lot of people who are like, no, not for me, I'm gonna wait it out a little bit, or you know, this is gonna be the weirdest summer. I can't imagine, because usually summer, at least for like my family and stuff, that's like when everybody travels and like you get time to yourself and kids are out of school, and now all of a sudden it's like, I feel like I'm so curious to see how it's gonna change everybody's world this summer. So I'm curious to hear, what are your plans this summer? Okay, and now that my concealer is applied, why don't we go ahead and speed through the powder process so that we can wrap this video up.
We ain't perfect, no. It's a work in progress, good things go slow. And I same. I fall and you pick me up again. You got your habits, got them too. Just feel like maybe I could lose them with you. Sinking in, and I guess I kinda like that. For the first time, you really got my back. Got your habits, I got them too. Just feel like maybe I could lose them with you. Lose them with you, lose them with you. Just feel like maybe I could lose them with.
Okay, before we officially wrap up this video, let me review the items that I put on my face during the speed through portion. And though, well, obviously you saw me finish my eyes, which was this natural matte palette again, but I ended up just using the Cashmere Bunny shade. Also, I wanted to say that if I didn't have this palette, another good cool tone palette is the Shade and Light palette by Kat Von D, or the Makeup Revolution one that is a dupe for it. I know I don't have the Kat Von D one, I have the dupe one. And I think that I could totally recreate the cool browns from this palette with that palette. Another palette that I should mention that is decent for, hold on one second, let me grab it. Okay. This palette right here, this is the Norvina palette from ABH. If you already have this palette, this shade here, Volatile, is really good. It's a very cool tone shade, and I think that I could also, I find that I can kind of sheer that shade out in the crease, and I think it would give me such a similar look. And also you can build this up on your outer corner, and I think that you could recreate this look with this same shade from this palette. So you don't have to have, like, there are a bunch of great cool tone browns. You don't have to have the one I am talking about or that I used today. This is simply, I kept this one here in Sweden with me over the Kat Von D dupe because this is so much smaller than the Kat Von D dupe. But I do also understand that there is like a rich or a new appreciation nowadays for cool tones, and I actually am like someone who's like, oh my goodness, I kind of feel like I've been sleeping on them a little bit. And so if I come across any new cool tone shades in my like collection, or if I get new palettes, I will be sure to let you know, because I know that there are a bunch of people who are also like me out here watching these videos that are like makeup appreciators and lovers, and maybe looking for, like, if they have palettes and they just didn't realize that they had those shades already in their collection, or if they're looking to expand their collection, they want to hear, you want to do your research. So I'll definitely keep you updated on any other cool tone matte palettes or cool tone matte browns that I find in my collection. Okay, back to the makeup on my face. I set my eyes with my Fit Me loose powder, and then I set the rest of my face with my Bare Minerals Mineral Veil. And this is the hydrating mineral veil, but I really like it. I'm trying to pan it this year. And then I used blush. I used this Satin Touch Love, the Essence Satin Blush in Satin Love. And this is just a beautiful, like, kind of neutral tone blush. It goes with almost anything. It's like one of the best blushes I have in my collection. And it was only like $2.99 or something ridiculous. And unfortunately, I can't tell you the exact bronzer I used because it is a Franken bronzer that I ended up using. I mixed up some shades from the palette I'm trying to pan this year, and then a shade from this here. This is the like some ridiculously old Tarte palette, and it was a shade like right here, I think it was, or here or here. And it was like a light brown transition shade, or mid-tone brown transition shade. And I realized I wasn't ever going to use it up as a transition shade because I just have so many other of those browns in my collection. And when I made my Franken bronzer, I needed that kind of shade. So I ended up mixing it in, and so it's a Franken bronzer that no one can recreate. And then my highlight here is this ColourPop highlighter in the shade Wisp. This is a dupe for Becca's Opal, so I thought it was kind of cool. Becca's Opal kind of has that little bit of like almost like a cool tone but champagne still kind of like vibe to it. So I thought that would be really pretty, and I'm trying to pan this one too. So I actually really love the way that this highlight looks with this look. And then the last thing to mention is my lipstick, and this is Stila's Fresco liquid lip in the shade Fresco. And I usually try to like put a lip liner down before I put any sort of liquid lip on, and today I tried to be cool and just apply it like freehandedly, so I'm not really quite sure how it looks. I feel like this side over here looks kind of funky, but it's okay. I'm sitting at home, and my husband will appreciate it even if it drives me insane on camera. But anyways, make sure you say hello in the comments. Please let me know how you're doing. I know I asked y'all a ton of questions during this video, but I am really curious to see how everybody's doing, what kind of hobbies you got going on. Have you tried anything new? What shows are you like watching? I feel like I've said this a million times on my channel here, but you guys are special, and you're like my social outlet. So please don't feel afraid to like hold back or anything. Just let me know how you're doing in the comments, and I hope you enjoyed this. I will see you in the next one.